Hello, entrepreneurs. Joe DeCharis, CPA, coming to you live from downtown Flushing, New York, once again. But tonight, folks, we aren't doing how to win at business. I'm still getting prepared here. Tonight, we are going through a 5-day challenge where I will be going through all of my experience, everything that I've learned over 35 years, and share it with you in about 5 hours. So we've been working on this, my team and I, for well over 20 years. There's a lot of stuff to cover, and I'm going to be going pretty quickly. I hope that my friend Elizabeth is assisting me here because I'm technology pretty much challenged, like most people, and I can't do the comments on Facebook still after all this time. So let's get right down to it. Today we are going to be going through getting organized. And so let's first talk about who this is for and who this is not for, just in case you're in the wrong place. This is for anyone starting a business, anyone thinking about starting a business. It's also for people that have a small business and would like to get more organized. Who it's not for are people that know everything, naysayers, people suffering from anxiety and depression. and I'll tell you why in a few slides. What you're going to leave here with after this challenge is you're going to have more focus, more understanding about starting, building, and managing your own business successfully. I'm also going to be giving you time-saving and tax-saving tips. And so let's get on with it, folks. Why should you stay? First of all, because I'm pretty funny, and Elizabeth is giving away Melaleuca. This is what we're going to be covering. Like I said, I've been working almost around the clock the last couple of weeks on this, and I've been going through all of my files, everything that I've accumulated over the years. And we've condensed it into 5 different categories. The first one, today we're going to be covering business organization. Tomorrow, best business practices. Wednesday, we're going to be going over compliance issues. Day 4, we're going to be talking about doing business intentionally. And day 5, we're going to have a lot of fun with stealth tax strategies. I'm also going to be talking about our CFO package, which is something that, again, I literally started over 20 years ago, and we have proof of that because it's part of my system, and you'll see it. Before we get started, I really want to thank my team, Elizabeth, Linda, Janine, Lewis, Christina. You people have all stepped up and really helped me put this together. 3 weeks ago, I thought we were going to have to postpone it, but let's get the show on the road. My goal with all of my Facebook Lives, everything I do, is to try to help my clients, my fans, anybody that has the courage to listen to me. I'm trying to help you make things profitable. I'm trying to help make business simple for you. And also, if you know me, if you've been to any of my masterminds, I like to have fun and make business amazing, because it's a lot easier to make money when you're having fun. Okay, and if you're making money and you're not having fun, what's the point? So let's go through the issues. Okay, and like I said, I have a lot of stuff. I have way too much content to share with you over 5 days. So I am going to be going through these slides pretty quickly. I'm going to talk fast. And what I would suggest is that you keep notes. There's going to be plenty of downloads. Elizabeth will make sure that you get them all. If you have questions, I would love to make this as interactive as possible. But like I said, I'm not really great with the comments there. So let's talk about the plight of the entrepreneur, because the last couple of years I have been working basically with brand new business owners. That's who I decided to serve. And what I've seen is what I read about 25 years ago in a book called The E-Myth Revisited. Michael Gerber hit the nail on the head, because it becomes crazy. You wind up in places that you never imagined when you start a business. It is never what we think it is. And I'm going to be covering that. I say this all the time. And this quote came from a book I read. It was the first paragraph, and it removed a big weight off my shoulders, because I thought I was the only one that had it difficult. And once you just accept that, life is a lot easier. But what we do as entrepreneurs is we make it even more difficult, and we overcomplicate things. And that's, that is what I've seen, folks. I've seen people worry, lose sleep over the most insignificant things in business, and not pay attention to the things that are important. So my goal over this 5 days is to help you make it simple, help you focus on what's really important as far as, my end of the business, the administrative side. And what makes me, if you don't know me, if you don't know my background, I'm going to tell you what I've been doing for the last 35 years. I have literally worked with thousands of businesses and different organizations. And almost all of those jobs had to do with organizing, straightening out books and records, getting my clients in compliance and staying in compliance, and going to war, really going to war and trying to defend my clients against the IRS, state governments, banks, insurance companies, and anything else making my clients' life difficult. Now, I call this the machine now, and I'm going to be talking about the machine all week, and maybe the rest of my life, because there is something seriously flawed with our system here. My objectives are to keep doing the same exact thing. I'm going to keep doing the same exact thing as I'm doing now, as I was doing the last 35 years. The only difference is I don't want to help thousands. I want to help millions. And I decided this after I took Napoleon Hill's course called The Law of Success. And I remember it like it was yesterday, where I said, I want to teach people these kinds of principles. And I did a definite chief aim. And I said that I want to teach millions of people. Now, I had no idea how that was going to happen. But when we go through tomorrow, we're going to be talking about Napoleon Hill and best business practices, because it definitely changed the way I looked at business and life and everything. So my story, if you know me, you've heard me tell my ice cream story, and I didn't realize how significant it was going to be 35 years ago. But what happened was my father tricked me into becoming a CPA, because at 17, he told me that CPAs run businesses. They tell people how to run businesses. And all I wanted to do was be in business. And he knew this. So once I found out that CPAs do that, I said, I'm going to be a CPA. And I never thought twice about it. And the summer before my last semester in college, I decided that because I was going to be a business owner, that I was going to actually run a business, and I was going to do it with my ice cream truck, because I had leased an ice cream truck before. I made money, but this time I said, I'm going to do it like a real business. And I bought ledgers, I kept inventory, and I proved that I was a successful entrepreneur, because the last day of my business, when I was going to turn in the ice cream truck, I turned down this tree-lined street, and I said, this is awesome. I have done it. It was a beautiful day. I was going to a beach to sell ice cream to little kids, and I was their hero. And it was going to be simple. I had this. All I had to do was graduate and get my CPA license, and I was going to be a business titan. I didn't want to do people's tax returns the rest of my life. The whole idea was, that I wouldn't have to hire an accountant, and I would learn how to run my business. And 6 months into my career, I get a notice from New York State, and I had no idea what it was, but when I opened it, there was a big red stamp on it. I mean, and I get chills down my spine even thinking about it today, because it said warrant. And the thoughts that went through my head was, what the heck did I do with that ice cream truck? I didn't know if I was going to be arrested. I thought I had to hire a lawyer. I was canceling trips. I was planning on a trip to see my grandparents, and I told them I might have to cancel it. And I didn't sleep for 3 days and nights. And it dawned on me, maybe I should ask one of the CPAs that I was working with what to do, because I was embarrassed. I didn't want my bosses to know that I was in trouble. And this is totally true, folks. You can't make this stuff up. What they told me was just call the number on the letter and find out what you got to do. And all it was, it turned out that because I was doing a legitimate business, I registered, because that's what the truck leasing company wanted. I registered as a sales tax vendor. And I didn't know that I was supposed to fill out a form. All they wanted was a form saying that I was out of business and I didn't know any tax. But from that moment on, I knew it wasn't simple. And so I spent a long time in my career helping people not have that kind of experience. And that's my story. And then what I learned is it is confusing. It's super confusing. And that's why so many people fail in business. And according to Forbes, they say 8 out of 10. I've seen so many statistics. I believe that the failure rate is probably like 98%, just based on my experience. I know for myself that I have started, I don't know, I lost track of how many businesses, but most of them failed. The truth is that setting up a business is more complicated today than ever. When I first started, we didn't have all this technology. We didn't even have fax machines. We were scared of the fax machine because we didn't know how it worked. But I think back then, and it was pretty easy to get into business. It was simple. Maybe it wasn't as simple as I thought it was. But today, folks, it is mind-bending. And because of COVID, the system was broke before. It was really broke. Now it's totally shattered, and I'm afraid that it's going to be like that for a long time. So let me take a second and see if there's any comments. I don't know who you are. Hi, Meg. How are you? Meg, don't do anything bad in my group. I just made Meg an admin, so I'm hoping that she'll be doing some Facebook Lives and whatever she wants to do. But I'm looking forward to it, Meg. All right, let's get on with this. Why did I pick getting organized for today's topic? Because when people start a business, any business, and we're going to go through this, you are automatically at a disadvantage. Automatically. For a number of reasons, and we're going to go through that. Getting organized is probably the last thing on everybody's list. And it's also the first thing that gets people off track. And that's a fact. If you think about it, folks, how can anybody be organized if they've never been in business before? And even people that have been in business before and have been in business for a long time never get organized. In fact, I don't know too many business owners that ever started out as being organized, myself included. So if we're going to turn the tide of all this confusion, all this misdirection, all of this bad information that I'm going to reveal over the next couple of days, if we're going to stop so many needless business failures, the only conclusion that I came up with is you got to start off organized, because that's not going to guarantee anything. What it is going to do, it is going to increase your chances of success exponentially. What it will do is save you a ton of money. What it will do is relieve a lot of the stress and anxiety that makes business owners make bad decisions. So I'm gonna keep pausing. I don't see any questions here. Hi, Laurel. Yes, we all get stuck, and unfortunately, Laurel, it never ends. Even the most organized people get disorganized because we're doing business. If you're not getting disorganized, you're not doing enough business. So this is really a you could call it a mindset thing. I don't do mindset stuff, but if you start out on the right track, it's a lot easier to stay on track. The whole idea is to stay ahead of the game, not just get ahead, but try to stay ahead. And you can't without the proper organization. And when I say organization, I mean from the bottom up, from the way you pay your bills, the way you invoice, to how you keep your records. Everything needs to be organized. McDonald's would never have been McDonald's without structure and organization. So first let's talk about what a business actually is, because believe it or not, some people aren't in business and they think they are. Some people are in business and they don't know that they are. I just had a case where a guy called me. He inherited $300,000 worth of rugs. And his idea was to sell them on a barter exchange. So he called me asking me what he should do. And I tried to explain to him, well, if you want to start a rug business, what I would do is I would incorporate you. I would set you up on Wave apps. I would help you set up books and records. But this isn't really a business. It was his father's business. His father sold rugs. He just inherited them. So whatever those rugs were worth is at that time is what his basis was. He could have just sold those rugs on eBay or whatever. That's not a business. And I tried to explain this to him, and he didn't like what I was saying. And a lot of people don't like what I say, and I'm okay with that, because I'm just trying to tell them the right thing. I said, mister, you don't understand. If you go into business, you're going to have to pay me to set you up, or somebody else. You're going to have an accountant. Then you got to start collecting sales taxes. You don't just start a business like that. And then what are you going to do when all the rugs are gone? So yes, Laura, we'll talk about Wave apps tonight, if I can get through all this. Another guy that thought he was in business, he had a successful business. I can't even say what it is. I don't want to, reveal, because if I give you too many details, it would be easy to find out who I'm talking about. But when I became their accountant, he was in his third year, and he had a partner, and this was his full-time thing. His partner only did like the tech stuff, so this was his full-time thing. And he was popular. I mean, he was in the newspapers. People thought he was like a god. And in the seventh year, he had a 7-year anniversary, big event. Big event. A lot of people, probably 200 people there. And I did his tax return, and his net profit was $30,000. That's below the poverty level. And I had been trying to help him make his business, a profitable business. And after that anniversary, I had to drop him as a client, because I said, listen, you should get a job, because you're never going to make money. And his issue was he had a money issue. And it turned out that all the attention that he was getting was feeding his ego. And that's what I realized. That wasn't a business. Not when you're doing it full time and making $30,000 a year. That he didn't even make enough money to pay himself a salary, because then you got to add taxes to it. Then we got the people that want to start a not-for-profit as a business because they think they can draw a salary from it. Big mistake, big mistake. A not-for-profit is what it's called. It's supposed to be to do a charitable thing, a church thing, a scientific thing, not to make money. This is a question that nobody has ever asked me. So I decided that I'm going to answer it for everybody. Nobody has ever asked me, when does the business actually start? Or when can they start writing stuff off? They want to know what they can write off, but they don't ask me when. So a business, every business starts as an idea. It's a dream. It's still not a business. The moment you take action and do something, you're in business. You're in business. And guess what? Once you're in business, you could start writing stuff off. Stuff that you already have, which I'm going to cover on day 5, when I'm going to cover stealth tax strategies. And I'm really looking forward to that. But I'm going to take a little bit of a break now, because I have a special guest. He's a very, very busy man, and he's not paying me to appear here. So I don't want to waste a lot of his time. So let me do this. I'm going to remove this. And I'm going to add my brother from another mother, Mr. Craig Goswald.
Hi, Doey.
How are you? Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Yeah, I just came on early just to watch you. I was just going to watch.
I know, and I didn't want to see you watching me, so I want to get you off of here.
I was going to give you a critique and everything.
Oh, thank you. So I'm really sorry for your loss, Craig. And I promised myself
I know what you're talking about.
I wasn't going to bring this up, but I really am.
I know what you're talking
about. There's always next year for Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm a Kansas City Chief fan. And yes, it's brutal, but I'm over it.
I know I know you were in denial.
I am. I'm still in denial. I still
there's next year, but the good thing, Craig, is
listen. I'm an eternal optimist. I actually think they didn't lose yet. Yesterday.
Listen, Pat Mahomes is not human.
He isn't. No, we had somebody dropped balls yesterday, and he was throwing things.
Listen, when I watched football, they played football. These people, they're acrobats.
Yes.
But let's get to the topic here. If you don't know Craig Goswald, he hung out with a couple of really cool people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like my wife and my kids.
Yeah, and me and a bunch of fraternity brothers. But I don't know how the heck he wound up where he is, because he really has no talent. And it's just proof, Craig. You're just proof that it can be done
to be successful.
So you went from so you were going to be a zoo keeper, right?
A zoo. And that's what my job was. Yeah.
So, we met in college, and the first thing you ever said to me, I was so grateful that you said, I don't think we're going to make you eat live worms.
That's right. No brotherhood could steal you.
So we graduated. You got a little job making like minimum wage, and like 2 days later, you're touring with Air Supply.
Yes, sir. Well, 2 weeks later, I got a job with Air Supply, and did that for like eight years. Then I took a couple of years off, and then I got a job with Guns N' Roses for like half years, 4 years, and then
wait a second. So what was your job with Guns N' Roses?
I had to take care of Axl Rose, basically.
So you're basically the reason why they showed up late every night.
I'm the reason why he started not showing up late every night.
Okay.
My job was to get to the concert, and my claim to fame in the industry is I got Axl Rose to show on time than more than before I was there. That makes sense?
Okay. Yes.
All right. That was my claim to fame.
Okay. And now you have this rock star mastermind group, which you tricked me into joining about 8 or 9 years ago. And that, the idea, Craig, and I talked about this, my definite chief aim, I said, I don't know how I'm going to teach millions of people this stuff, but I know Craig will help me.
Heck's right, man. Yeah, I have 200 people in the mastermind. Joe's kicking butt in his mastermind group, and it's all about, giving content. And Joe is, I think you have mastermind pretty much every now. So you're always online.
Yes. Thanks to you. This is all you're doing. You know that. So it dawned on
my TV on behind the screen, and they just flashed. I think you were talking about Patrick Mahomes sideways as a pass, and we drop it in zone. Thank you.
I have to watch that again. I was like, that's not real. But it dawned on me, tonight's topic is all about organization.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you get to be Guns N' Roses without some kind of organization.
That's so the guy, make a long story short, I worked with Air Supply for about 8 years, and the security guard Air Supply, like the 3 or 4 years that's on the road, became the manager of Guns N' Roses. And through a phone call and a lot of situations, he said, there's one guy that I feel that can handle Axl Rose, because this guy is so organized. He's on top of. He's always like high G guy. And that's what they wanted for Axl. Yes, I had to be most organized person in the world. And I learned it with Air Supply. I was always organized, kind of, but now I'm crazy organized because I run a lot of things. I have a few businesses. If I'm not organized,
wait a second. You said you're crazy organized.
Crazy organized.
No. I think literally you are
crazy.
I
mean, if I can show pictures, is it possible to get a share or not? Do you know?
What's that?
I have pictures. I can show you my pictures.
No, I can't. I can't do the share screen.
So anyway, my kin is so is like every fork has a place. Well, the forks have a place. People do that. But
no, you held up this canister with like paper receipts, and what did it say? And I was like, oh my God. Okay, he's gonna get it. So I've been asking. I've been telling Craig all week that I just want you to show your canister with.
I thought you meant the things in the garage, because all my things. So CDDI, Craig does what's international. This is personal. All my personal receipts.
Oh my God!
Peoples and talents, and we've won for Band Foundation, and we have one kids. Even they have.
So did Debbie Morgan tell you about the de minimis rule?
Okay, she mustn't since I don't even know what the hell you do.
Because you don't need to keep all of those receipts.
No, I know.
Okay, so
I do.
So here's the point. You got the job because you were organized. You were I know what you do, and I'm like, you're like Haley Gray. I'm like, you don't sleep. You can't.
Dude, I pass out from exhaustion.
You can't. I'm like, and I know you don't have like a huge team behind you, but I don't know how you do it. And it's all organization.
As I said, it's all organization. I know. So if someone asks me for something, right? I have drawers. I wish you could see my drawers. My desk drawers, and in there they're all labeled. So if someone asks me for something, it's right at my fingertips. Everything there. So I don't waste time looking for stuff, researching stuff. I know where everything is. So that gives me X hours every single day.
And you want to know something, Craig? One of the things I found that why businesses fail is because they don't measure the amount of time that they waste.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
it's not on your profit. I mean, it's it's
Right.
on your profit and loss statement, but there's no line item for
Yeah,
it.
that's right. Right. Yep. I must save. So if I work 10 hours a day, I think I work more, but just say I work 10 hours a day, I save, and I feel I'm not joking, at least two, maybe 2.5 hours a day, not having to look for things. Oh, my
And
keys are organized. Just I could turn it around. My keys are on a Fender amp, a small little fake amp thing.
okay, my head is spinning with your organization now. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's
But
not
one thing,
organized.
you said something to me years ago that just stuck in my mind, because I'm thinking, how does Guns N' Roses keep track of all of those expenses?
I had a float sheet. So each of us got a certain amount of money. I was Axel's guy, so I spent his money, and every time he spent something, I got the read, and I had to fill it out float sheet and head in every week, and then if I spent my personal money because I have money with them, I had to report that, and then I got money back, or they just gave it to his account. One of the biggest parts of my job was working with his accountant, me saving receipts, me explaining why he bought it, and it is, so that the accountant can. So yeah, once again, not just getting Axel on stage, not just doing that. I handled all his money, as well. So I had to be organized for that.
At the end of the day, though, I don't know, and I never asked you this, but they must be, they must be a corporation. They got to file tax returns, right?
Yeah. I mean,
like everyone else.
That's right. And we all, as Guns N' Roses, they're a business. They are full on business, and they have accountants and lawyers, and everyone. Everyone's got a little specific job, but it is very organized. And Doug Goldstein, the manager of Guns N' Roses, extremely organized person. It ran like a well-oiled machine, yet it is like 24-hour chaos. It ran like a well-oiled machine, and if it wasn't organized, it would have fallen apart.
It wouldn't have been Guns N' Roses.
No, they wouldn't have been successful.
It couldn't be.
Yeah, I tell my kid now, the most important thing. Two of my kids are musicians. Like they're going to go to college business, because I feel that they need to know business, even though they know they're not going to be a business person. They need to know what's going on in the business, so that they have an idea of how a corporation runs, why they need a corporation, the rules that you talk about all the time. They need to know that, at least on a basis, so they don't get screwed by someone trying to rip them off too.
And you know what else I've learned, Craig? That most people in business don't know enough about business. They might know what they do, but that, and it's just like the E-myth. The E-myth is, listen, just because you know how to build a house doesn't mean that you start a business.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, same thing, right? I do my books to a certain degree, and then hand it over to Debbie Moore, and she really does my books and my tax, right? I can just do enough just to be dangerous, but I'm never going to be accountant, and so I don't know that stuff.
I told Debbie that I pray for her. I said, I don't know how you can have Craig as a client.
It's a nightmare.
But I want to, I got to cut you off because you're taking up too much of my time here.
I understand.
But one thing, Craig, listen, one thing I learned, being around you all these years, is it's not easy getting into the freaking music business.
No.
I'm like, oh my God. I mean, how many, Guns N' Roses, how much practice did they have?
Well, they had tons of practice. Once again, there was a ton of great bands at the time on Sunset Boulevard that wrote great songs too, but they just were, they were the bad boys, right? They did anything really bad, and they didn't care if they wait. I watched the Guns N' Roses behind the scene the other night on Reels, EELZ, and it's interesting. They warm up Stones, and Axl Rose is warming up for the Rolling Stones, and he's late to the concert, stuff like that. But that's what their MO was, right? And it just worked for them. But like one is in a band right now called Thread. My son Ryan, and he's a drum. The bass player is the bass player of Metallica's son, Ty Trujillo. So they have a really good shot because I know people, and obviously Metallica guys people, and still it's going to be very, very hard. It's still they're writing great songs. Their first album's coming out this year, but it's still going to be with all of our connections as well.
But here's what I think. I'm like, at some point, got to become a business.
Yes.
What musicians, and they start making money, they probably got to start with a manager, right?
And they know what to pay manager, who's a manager, what manager's not going to rip them off. And luckily, Rob and I know enough of this industry where we have enough good people that guide them. So it should be good, but still, it's going to be hard. I told my sons, you got to work hard to make this.
So you should have had your son join the challenge.
He just left to go back to college like an hour ago.
But I agree with you. I think anybody, because I just know people don't know the questions to ask me. They ask me the wrong questions, and I'm like, if you're in business, you gotta at least know what a balance sheet and a P&L is.
I know those. I can do that.
Most people don't.
Yeah, I know how to balance my checkbook every single month on all of my accounts. A lot of people.
If you ever need a job as a bookkeeper, let me know.
Well, okay. Do you know that most of my friends don't back their checkbook. They just trust bank.
That's another thing, Craig. I get clients in business and their accountants never reconciled their bank accounts.
I do it every month. Every
I'm gonna cover that if I have time, because I'll tell you, I don't have enough time to go through all of my slides now for the whole.
All right, we're gonna move on.
Thank you. We are done. Thank you, brother.
I love you, brother.
All right, love you too.
Bye.
All right, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. Craig is a good man, even though I bother him all the time. I'll bother him the rest of his life, and he knows that. We covered a lot of stuff. I have a lot of stuff still to go on. Obviously, I'm not going to get through it all. So I'm just going to go through this very quickly. And what I want to do is I want to invite people to connect with me. If what I'm saying is resonating with you, if you need some kind of direction, I'm going to give you an opportunity to connect with me. And I'm hoping that Elizabeth has a link for that, because I don't, and I can look for it, but I might mess up my presentation here. People ask me, what can you write off? And this is the answer, folks. And this should remove a lot of mystery and stress and anxiety over what you're allowed to deduct. It's simple. Anything business related. Okay? And this is the question you have to ask yourself. Who's going to determine if it's related? And then how do you prove it? So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of how I turned normally personally categorized expenses that you already have and turn them into business deductions legally. So I'm a dog lover. I love dogs. Cats are okay. I've had some cool cats in the past, but I love dogs. And one of my clients picked up a stray dog and didn't bring him home. He left him in his warehouse, and they fed the dog, and he was buying dog food and had vet bills. And because the dog actually was on the business premises, we decided that it was a security dog. It was a bad neighborhood. So all of his dog food, all of the vet bills were deductible because we determined that it was business use. How do we prove it? We had receipts. We could have taken pictures of the dog. Now, here's the thing. With my stealth tax strategies, the chances of being audited are almost slim to none. I've had one client audited, and I did a Facebook Live with him. He's another fraternity brother of mine. It happened before I was certified. It was the first tax audit I ever handled. And ever since then, not one of my clients have ever been audited. I've handled hundreds of audits, but they came to me before they were my clients. So the point is, you decide if it's business related. You keep your receipts, you keep your documents, which I'm going to show you how to do before this challenge is over. And the chances on anybody ever questioning it are slim to none. And then if they do, and you followed my procedures, I guarantee you that those expenses will be accepted. Now with my system, which I'm going to show you, everything is automated. Everything is categorized. It's simple. And all you got to do is put your transactions through your account, and most of it will be deductible. I'll be covering more of this on day 5. Now we're getting to what Craig was talking about, books and records. Okay, what are books and records? Books and records are what everybody has to keep once you go into business. Now, if you remember, a few slides back, I was talking about what is a business. Well, people like Uber drivers are in business, and most of them may not even know it. Okay, so they are a business, and if you're in business, you are required to keep books and records. Now, this is another question that nobody has ever asked me, but they should have. This is an example of business, the process. Okay, first, there is an exchange. Okay, so you make an agreement, you buy something, and there's an exchange. Then you do the transaction, and then it gets recorded. That was Craig's job. He recorded it. He put it into a system. Okay, now I'm going to show you that there's fundamentals of every filing system. And that's what Craig was talking about too. That's why I had Craig on. Not because he knew rock stars, because he is the most organized person I ever met in my life. Okay, and what did he say? It's right at his fingertips. It's easy to find. Organizing your files. I think we're going to have enough time so I can show you some of the ways that I've done it. We're not going to get into Wave tonight. We don't have enough time. But what I want to do is share a different screen with you. And I think that's... Okay. So this is a personal file. This is a sample that I set up to show people. You get your tax folder. You got your permanent folder. Now, another thing I want to show you are the downloads. So I don't actually have anything in these files, but I'm just showing you the structure. Okay, and all of this, everything here that you see here is going to be available to you for download. This is a business template. Now, obviously, I'm using Google for this. You can use whatever you want to use. Okay, you can use Dropbox, whatever it doesn't need it. So this is the same system as if you had a paper filing cabinet. That's it. Now this, okay, this is what the IRS uses to explain what books and records are. I'm going to show you something here. Choosing an accounting method. So every business owner should get this and at least skim it. So here we are, record keeping. Okay. Why you have to keep prepare your financial statements, blah blah blah. All the reasons that I talk about. We know that supporting documentation. Okay, so they're actually telling you part of the story. Okay, part of the story, because books and records aren't just documents. They can be pictures. They can be outside testimony, anything that's going to prove that it was a business expense. Now, what I want to show everybody here is this: a good record keeping system, blah, blah, blah. So I don't want to spend time finding it here, but somewhere in here, the IRS says flat out that there is no prescribed record keeping system. There is no prescribed, they can't tell you how to keep your records because there are courts and you can challenge the IRS. And just because the IRS says that we want you to do it this way does not mean that that's the law. So in tax court, people challenged this whole concept of books and records. And we're going to talk about that when I talk about the de minimis rule, and you're really going to like that. Now, I do have part of the organization is what we call naming conventions. So when we have digital files, you have to, if you ever downloaded a file from something and you see this big long name, when you look in the digital format, it's not going to be easy to find. It's got to be easy to find. So when I get a new client and they give us all of their bank statements, they're not like this. We have to name them. We spend a few minutes naming them so that we can find them. So you don't have to keep clicking to find out where is September, where is May. I know where June is for this account. It's simple. And all of our clients are like that. Okay. So I think that that's all I can cover tonight. We will go into Wave tomorrow. Like I said, we will get through all of it. I'm just going to have to go a little bit faster and cover it quickly. But what I do want to say is if anybody has any questions, you will have more than enough time to chat with me and or my team. If we have again, my team has helped me put together a streamlined onboarding process that is amazing. And we do have a page here. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. So this is how it works, folks. I'm going to put this page in the chat. And I'm going to show you how easy this is. So the username is BBB and the password is hello. Simple. You're going to get into our Bedrock business management system. So if you're a client like Meg, like Linda Kay, Elizabeth, you haven't seen this yet. Okay. But this is everything that we need to set you up with an appointment. And that's how we save time. Because if you book an appointment with me and I don't have this information, I'm going to ask you for this information so I could give you the right direction. So once you fill this out, you can schedule an appointment with me. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, my calendar is not working right. I gotta fix it. I'm with Calendly, and so if you can't book an appointment with me, just email me. Email me at joe@bedrockbusinessbuilders.com. PM me. Put it in the post, and I guarantee you, I promise you that you will get a chance to talk to me and pick my brain if you want. Also, I'm not sure if Elizabeth got to fix this. The download, this was not completed. What you're going to get is my new business startup checklist. And that has a couple of things that I use to help clients get started with their budgeting tools and hopefully stuff like that we'll get to talk about tomorrow. So that's it, folks. We're done for tonight. Over and out. That's my story. I'm still sticking with it. I want to thank Craig for coming on, and yeah, Laurel. This is why I said I don't know. If you email me, I'll get it back. I don't know the chat box in Facebook. We're actually streaming on 5 different platforms right now. Actually 2, Facebook and YouTube, but we're going to 4 different groups and pages on Facebook. So I'm confused. If you need your bookkeeping done, I'm not confused about that. If you need help with StreamYard or Facebook, talk to Elizabeth. Okay, that's my story. Over and out. God bless. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks.